O'Neill vows to protect Prime Minister's office amidst recent arrests. Government to build power station at a cost of 15 billion kina. And a small-scale industry thriving in the highlands.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Friday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has announced that the office of the Prime Minister should not be interfered with or questioned in its entirety by police officers. His statements follow questions raised by media personnel today in light of the recent arrest and charging of high-profile government bureaucrats. Eric Harupma with this report.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said the office of the Prime Minister should not be questioned by police on matters that have not financially benefited anyone. He said this while responding to questions raised by media personnel over the recent arrest of Attorney General and Justice Minister Anopala. He said this will set a bad precedent for this country where policemen can acquire a warrant to arrest anyone including the Prime Minister. Anopala was charged for attempting to pervert the course of justice in October last year. It was alleged that Mr. Pala consented with the Solicitor General to prevent police from arresting the Prime Minister.
To question their integrity, to question their position in the country is simply unacceptable if you have not fully investigated. We cannot have a vigilante style of police operation in the country. And it is for the police commissioner to take appropriate actions that is his feet. He is the one that has been tasked by the Constitution as the ultimate power of running the police force.
The Prime Minister said to question their position in the country is simply unacceptable if the matter has not been fully investigated. Mr. O'Neill said we cannot have a vigilante style of police operations in the country, thus it is the responsibility of the Police Commissioner to take appropriate action.
He is the one that has been tasked by the Constitution as the ultimate power of running the police force.
He said any other policeman answerable to the Commissioner should use all his means to independently assess the merit of the cases, whether to stand trial or not. Eric Harupma, National EMTV News.
Department of Personnel Management Secretary John Kali has been ordered by the Supreme Court to be physically present in court next Tuesday. Chief Justice Sir Salamo Injia issued the order after Kali failed to appear in person at the Supreme Court this morning. This case is in relation to the recent appointment of a new acting provincial administrator for Eastern Highlands.
The court battle over the provincial administrator's position since August 2015, basic government services into provincial town Goroka has been affected. Last Friday, Chief Justice Salamo Injia issued orders for all parties involved in this legal battle to appear before him at the Supreme Court. The orders were served on Sepuka Temo, the Public Service Minister, Eastern Islands Governor Julie Soso, and DPM Secretary John Kali. They were directed to be present in court for the hearing on the application to restrain Samson Akunai from acting as PA and the appointment of a new acting PA. This morning, all parties were present in court except for Secretary Kali. The court heard that Kali left the country the afternoon the court order was served. However, Sarah Digma, a magisterial staff who was supposed to personally serve the court order on Kali, served it to the Office of the Personnel Management instead. Upon this ground, Chief Justice Salamo Injia issued an order for Kali to file an affidavit stating whether or not he was aware of the court order before his departure. Kali's absence in court was described as an inconvenience to the Supreme Court. The other orders include a court order be personally served to Kali upon his return from overseas at the Jackson's International Airport and for the matter to be adjourned to next Tuesday. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The Rabaul Queen court case went into trial this week in Kokopo after it was put on hold for nearly a year. The Kokopo National Court premises was in lockdown by court marshals as the trial began. The case was further adjourned yesterday afternoon and will resume next Monday morning with more witnesses to testify. Edwin Fidelis has been following this story in Kokopo.
The National Courtroom in Kokopo was under lockdown from public since Monday. More than 20 witnesses turned up at the court to give their story. Almost all of them survived or lost a family member during the ordeal. They went into the courtroom with only stories to tell. Caroline Maniot flew into Kokopo from Buka to tell the court the story of her two sons who perished during the sinking of Rabaulquin. The case resumed this week after it was adjourned for more than a year to allow police investigations to continue. It took about a year before the government acted on a report provided by the Rabaulquin Commission of Inquiry from the date of the ferry disaster.
Mr. Speaker, the weather report...
And it took almost 3 years before the case was finally brought to trial. This week, the state came back with a list of witnesses who will testify in court about the 2012 Rabaulquin disaster. Mr. Sharp's lawyers will be answering to at least 172 individual cases of manslaughter charges laid against him by the state. The defendant Peter Sharp and his Rabaulquin's ship captain Anthony Chiao were represented by Simon Nutley from the Fiocco Nutley lawyers, while Paul Tusais represented the state and the witnesses, many of whom are hoping the case will end soon.
Combination of people get there, like show him this solidarity of people because heart from play touch him the loved ones from play he been lose the sheep.
These were some of the last pictures taken before the ship left Buka 4 years ago, and these were pictures taken a few hours later after the ship sank. Some passengers and crew members on board the vessel were rescued. Others came in body bags a few days later. It was a stark reminder for those who attended the court this week.
Mipla talk thank you, Lord. This is a case where come Rabaul now, Lord. Mipla by it will be put to rest. Now Mipla by bringing relief inside the family, Mipla.
For many, it was a slow and painful experience, and the court proceedings that has been underway in Kokopo this week and the days to come is the only solution that many of them say will put their minds and hearts at ease. Edwin Fidelis, National MTV News, Kokopo.
Head of NCD and Central Divisional Commands Sylvester Kalaut will be proposing to the Magisterial Services to build a committal courthouse within the precincts of the Boroko Police Station. Kalaut is suggesting that the old conference room at Boroko Station be reconfigured into a courtroom. The proposal is to fast-track fresh court cases and cut down on transportation costs.
The proposal seeks for the building to be demolished and constructed into a courtroom. Commander Kalaut explained a pathway will be created from inside the Boroko cells to connect the proposed courtroom.
But we've got the old conference room here, of which I wanted to have it refurbished, and we'll make it like a courtroom, and we can have a better understanding with the district courts here at Boroko, so that we can only have one magistrate and a court clerk here, and they can hear cases, and then they issue remand warrants, so we can take the detainees up to Bomana.
The Boroko Police Station serves as the main report center for all criminal cases in the NCD Command. Over 200 offenders are detained here in a day. Kalaut says it would be convenient for police to prosecute offenders within the station before a court magistrate.
I wanted to make it easier and convenient for police and the courts. I would be proposing to the Magisterial Services for a courthouse to be constructed here, so that it makes it easier for detainees, so they can always make their first appearance in here for fresh cases.
At the moment, all detainees are either transported to the Waigani Komitol or Boroko District Courts for mention. But that can be risky, Kalaut says, as the chances of them escaping is high. Thekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill today welcomed the chairman of French oil and gas company Total. Patrick Pouyan and his delegation arrived in the country yesterday to undertake a series of meetings with government officials and private sector representatives. In a media conference this morning, Mr. O'Neill said the government was pleased to have Total as a partner, especially as PNG begins to work to construct the Papua LNG project.
Conference room at the new Semana Super Jureno House as the Prime Minister met with the CEO of Total, Patrick Pouyan. Despite the challenges faced by the oil and gas sector, Total and Mr. Puyin are committed to delivering the substantial project. Mr. Puyin said it was a good time to invest when the prices and cost of commodities were low because more benefit will be seen when prices improve. Total is already setting up petrol stations around Port Moresby and more are expected to be established in the near future. He said Total will set up its 10 billion kina infrastructure at Kosen Bay and will also set up a gas plant near the Purari River in the Gulf province. The Prime Minister said the Papua LNG project will deliver well over 10,000 new jobs in the coming years as seen during the construction phase of the PNG LNG project. This is said will see more Papua New Guineans gain skills, generate business for SMEs and empower communities connected with the project. Mr. O'Neill said PNG also welcomes Total's commitment to downstream processing in the country. Eric Arupma, National MTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has announced the national government's support for a 500-megawatt hydropower station costing 15 billion kina. The project will be built in stages with the first lot of funding of 500 million kina committed by the Prime Minister. The announcement comes amidst much criticism over the financial state of the country and low commodity prices.
The announcement of a 500-megawatt power station comes at a time when the government, and in particular the Prime Minister, faces pressure from fraud investigators. Speaking to people in Chuave, the PM brushed aside concerns over the stability of the PNC-led government and his future as Prime Minister. Political support in Simbu has not waned. Simbu has been given a ministry in recent days. Kundiawa Gembok MP Tobias Kolang taking over the tourism responsibilities, and for now it appears political support is solid. Outside of politics, the national government will be deciding on funding sources for the 500-megawatt power station. The PM is leaning towards European funders who support environmentally friendly ventures.
Feasibility study has been given to government, and government and its officials are looking at it. We have told them to reduce the scoping down to build it in stages over time. It is a 2,000 megawatt power project, but we have told them to reduce it down to 500. So that's the first stage, and we hope to take it to cabinet over the course of the next few months.
The gathering today was held at Chuave's Yahweh Moses Secondary School. 6 million kina has been put into developing the infrastructure here. The new buildings include 5 classrooms, dormitories and 2 science labs, all funded by Chuave's District Services Improvement Program funds.
We need the power, because we need it to drive other industries.
It is a massive investment expected to trigger changes in the district. Simbu MPs present at today's gathering are looking at several important projects. The revival of the coffee industry, a 450 million kina road upgrade from Asaro to Kerawagi, and all this is expected to bring in new investments into the Highlands region. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Chuave.
You're watching National MTV News. Among stories after the break, blind weaving, a thriving SME in the Highlands that keeps locals busy. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. Now to an example of a small-scale industry that is thriving in the Highlands region. Blind weaving is an art that has existed for many years. There are many variations in the Highlands and in the lowlands where different materials are used. Our lay crew met Stanley Yare, who lives near the foot of the Daulo Pass, who has turned this art into a money earner for his small family.
Blind making is an art form popular in the Highlands region, largely because of the availability of the reeds used to make the blinds. For the Highlands, blinds are a necessary part of house construction in the villages. The demand for local construction, as well as its appeal to interior designers, has spurred a thriving industry along the Daulo Pass on the border of the Eastern Highlands and Chimbu provinces. Stanley Yare is a blind maker. He's become so good at it that he's able to make a roll every day.
Price mi pa sa sarim na botem 70 kina, 80 kina. Nogat pempa sa sutu under 100 kina tu konblau lore. Na pula pempa ka of 60 kina na about 70 kina. Kaino pempa sa sarim. Good la money.
The small industry has created jobs for members of his family who are paid to beat the reeds and prepare them for weaving.
Ogatan ba yuron yukan ba yukin blind ba sanap sa. Igat man do katim na karim kami pa sa baim. Kon ba bandolem 10 kina. Sa igat man do paitim to stop. So one pa bandol pumtol pati no pi mi pa sabay fokina na one pa man igat man do walking on pa 20 step do mi plus step so mi pa sabay 10 kina ken.
While the industry is still in its infancy, if the methods are perfected and the quality improved, it has the potential of becoming an export industry. But for now, the weavers are content to weave and sell for their household incomes. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Chuave.
The fogging exercise to protect people from the dengue virus has been rolled out in Port Moresby. This has been announced by NCD Health Services Director Dr. Nico Wutai. The exercise is to minimize mosquitoes and the transmission of the virus within communities.
Since the dengue outbreak was revealed in the National Capital District, health authorities had to plan on stopping the virus transmission, and the transmission is stopped through the killing of mosquitoes.
What's different with this particular exercise is that they will be fogging during the night as well as fogging during the day, because we know that the Aedes mosquito is a day-biting mosquito. So NCD Health has made allowance to fog during the day as well.
Dr. Wutai said the mosquito population in the capital city must be minimized. A team will be conducting visits to spray around premises.
They're visiting the ponds and so on, and conducting larvicidal activities, and also the introduction of the gambusa fish to eat the larvae. So,
meanwhile, Health Secretary Pasco Kase said dengue incidences in NCD have seen over 40 cases registered, with 2 cases of deaths.
So far, 2 cases of fatality or deaths that resulted from dengue. Zika is reported, but we don't have cases that we should be concerned too much about it. But again, it's something that we should take precautions to look after ourselves.
An appeal to every individual is to prevent the virus by keeping their homes and the environment clean. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
The World Health Organization has revealed that there is no specific medicine or treatment for dengue fever or Zika virus. Representative Dr. Peter Van Maren says what people need to do is to be responsible.
In response to questions raised by MTV, Dr. Maren says that there is no medicine or treatment specifically for the dengue and Zika viruses. However, there are support needs for patients who can recover in a week or 2. Dr. Maren says people should not panic because it's not a new disease and can be managed. People should be responsible by cleaning around their homes, and if they experience any symptoms of fever, they have to immediately seek medical attention that will determine the causes.
So it is a responsibility for everyone in the country to ensure that the proper measures are taken to prevent the breeding of mosquitoes that are transmitting this virus.
Health Secretary Pasco Kase says the best defense against mosquito-borne diseases is to follow standard warnings. Action taken is continuing surveillance, diagnosis and care.
So far, 2 cases of fatality or deaths that resulted from dengue. Zika is reported, but we don't have cases that we should be concerned too much about it. But again, it's something that we should take precautions to look after ourselves. A bit later, the technical persons, officers will talk to you, but basically, we have to look after our environment. And with the wet season, you know, mosquitoes come around, and our call go to all the communities to make sure that any waterlog or cans or containers that are sitting around or near our homes or offices should be removed. Those are places that mosquitoes breed quite well on it. So that's why it's important that we must remove those, or wear light-colored clothes in the evening if we are staying out of our homes.
The World Health Organization also advises women who are pregnant or who are planning to become pregnant to take extra care to protect themselves from mosquito bites.
Pushed messages about the proper prevention of dengue as well as other diseases, the proper treatment and through training and explanation of how to treat for dengue, and also detecting it and distributing kits such as this one to allow for the detection to occur at those more remote areas.
Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
Concerns have been raised on the high number of medical drugs sold on streets and retail outlets. Health Secretary Pasco Kase has instructed the area medical stores for confidential reports to investigate medicines that go missing.
Medicines sold on streets and retail outlets have raised concerns with the National Health Department. Health Secretary Pasco Kase says if these medicines are from the public health system, inquiries will be made to discipline officers involved.
If it's from the public system through the government system, we will get to the bottom of it. Recently, I've instructed the area medical store for confidential reports so that I will get to the bottom of where these medicines are coming from and are being sold on the streets.
It's also reported counterfeit medicines have been sold and people have been purchasing them without medical experts, prescription or advice. Mr. Kase says it's the health department's responsibility to ensure medicines do not end up on the streets.
By law, nobody should be selling this kind of medicines on the street. By law, no retailer should be selling these antibiotics over the counter in trade stores. All are illegal trading. They should only be given to patients only through a doctor's advice.
A memorandum of understanding was signed with the police and PNG Customs to investigate and arrest those who sell medicine in the streets.
But the unnecessary use of antibiotics is quite a big risk and an issue. It's not helping you.
Medicine must be taken by advice from a doctor or health worker because it may become resistant to the body. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
Nawab district in the Morobe province is prioritizing health services for its people in all three local level governments. This year, the district partnered with the provincial government in funding a health center building and staff houses at its Labuta LLG. Over the last 3 years, the district had embarked on health programs, including the support of primary healthcare promoters and volunteers within communities. Nawab MP Gisawat Sinuin says the district administration's health authority has been rolling out healthcare programs at both the district's hinterlands and coastal communities.
We have done a great thing here. This is a classic example of partnership with the provincial government and with the district. So we have built this one. That's 200,000 for this building. And then my district has committed over 50,000+ to renovate all our five staff houses plus the labor ward and the outpatient. So we spend a total of in the project now I allocate about 2 million to the health sector.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina opened unchanged at $0.3195 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3120 $0.4026 Australian dollars, $0.2738 euro and 33.86 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa as well as copper closed the day higher. Palm oil and crude oil closed lower, while copper closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 187 points higher, the ASX closed at 35 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed 33 points higher. Ahead in the news, a youth shot by police reservists in Leh, and overseas, 2 powerful earthquakes hit Japan. Welcome back to National MTV News. Rural Coordinator of Morobe Police, Chief Inspector David Warrap, says police brutality and unjustified killings and injuries by police are acts of unprofessionalism that amount to criminal behavior. Behavior like this has become a huge challenge to every ground commander. Warrap made these remarks following a police report at Gagidu in Finchafen district on Tuesday, where a police reservist shot a youth on his leg using a police-issued firearm.
Mr. Warrap said it is not clear at this stage the motive behind the shooting, but they are appealing to the relatives of the youth shot to come forward and register a complaint. An investigation team will be sent to Gagidu to carry out proper investigations with disciplinary actions taken on the reservist. Chief Inspector David Warab says they do not allow such actions by police personnel regardless of whether they are a regular officer or a reserve member of the constabulary. Warab said the best way to deal with such incidences is to improve the capacity of the Internal Affairs Directorate in all the provinces, as most times such incidences are not reported to the police hierarchy. Mataluvis, National EMTV News, Ley.
Morabe's flexible open distance education has received new study resources to boost student learning. The Learning Centre, which receives most of its funding from Morabe Provincial Government, offers second opportunities for school leavers.
The flexible open distance education has been prioritized in Morabe's 2016 budget with a 1.5 million kina budgeted for. The Learning Centre, established in 2014, has since been running on funds provided by the provincial government. Morabe Governor Kelly Naru says the provincial government is struggling to support the Learning Centre with plans to roll out the program into other districts within the province.
It's a successful program, and we would love to have the national government partnered with us in terms of sharing some of the financial burdens of this program. And the Minister has made a commitment that Vice Minister, Honorable Sini has made a commitment that he will take up with the national government the aspect of putting the food program on the TFF listing.
The school opened a new administration building, launched an electronic learning program, and took ownership of a new vehicle presented by the provincial government. As the school develops with a fast growth of student numbers every year, graduating students from 2014 and 2015 have yet to receive certificates from the school's administration.
So priority one is our student learning materials. Secondly is our tutors' wages. See, the program is new, and our tutors are not on the payroll, you see. They're on provincial government payroll. We budgeted 100,000 for the tutors' wages. And if the PSIP funding is not forthcoming, we waited for the funding. That's where the tutors don't get their wages as well.
Colin Barlai, National EMTV News, Ley.
Total opened its first service station in Badili, Port Moresby, today. It is one of the largest oil, natural gas and specialty chemical companies in the world and has now expanded its retail market into Papua New Guinea. Total Chief Executive Officer and Chairman Patrick Puyan said PNG has a very dynamic market and the company wants to develop it.
Total is not only a producer of gas, but also a retailer. With 1,700 service stations in the South Pacific, the multinational French-owned company launched its first service station in Port Moresby today.
Retailer, we market petroleum products, and so we have decided also to develop a retail station network in Papua New Guinea, and today here we are opening the first one. So it's the first service station of Total in Papua New Guinea.
Total Chief Executive Officer and Chairman Patrick Puyan said they plan to open 15 service stations in Port Moresby by 2017. Then will open service stations in other provinces. Total is one of the 6 super major companies in the world. The service station is only offering petrol, diesel and Total lubricants for now and will soon offer other services. Operations began today after the launching. Apart from the service station, a convenience shop owned by Total was also launched. Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
Member for Kairuku, Peter Isoaimo, has reassured the people of Kairuku that the 7 billion kina rice project will benefit them. Last week, Indonesian-owned Naima Agro Industry Limited got the approval from the government to develop land in Kairuku for the rice project.
Mr. Isoaimo, speaking at the opening of the new facilities at Avabadina Primary School, said the central members and governor had been criticized about the contract signing. He said that people have said on social media that the contract signing will only benefit the members. But he reassured the people of Gabadi that all the benefits will only be for them.
have no deal. We are only facilitating as your leaders to make sure the project comes to benefit our people.
He said that in the end, the people own the land and not the government. The rice project is set to create 5,000 jobs.
So whatever deal there is to, be negotiated, it's between, again, you as landowners and the developer who's coming in with his finance and expertise, machinery and equipment.
Iso Aimo said the spin-off benefits will benefit the people. He added that the company has agreed to give a 30% equity to any small business that enters agreements with them.
Some benefits where you will enjoy is that I think when you enter into contract with especially NIMA, you have a 30% free equity carry on whatever business structure you wish to establish and enter into agreements with them.
But the 7 billion kina rice project has raised eyebrows for some, saying that it may create a monopoly for rice farming in PNG. Adelaide Xerox Kari National, MTV News.
Turning overseas, and two powerful earthquakes hit southwestern Japan yesterday and early today, bringing down buildings, killing at least 9 people and injuring hundreds. The initial magnitude 6 tremor struck 11 kilometers east of the city of Kumamoto, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Another 6.4 magnitude quake hit the same place slightly after midnight. Local broadcasters aired videos of evacuees in the town of Mashiki near the epicenter, huddled in the dark outside and panicking as the second powerful quake shook the area. Many chose to spend the night outdoors despite the cold. The iconic Kumamoto Castle, designated an important cultural asset, was also badly damaged in the quake. Some 44,000 people had also been evacuated and more than 100 aftershocks had been recorded since the quake, which struck shortly before 9:30 p.m. local time. You're watching National MTV News. Trukai Sports is up next. We'll have all the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Basketball PNG has taken a step forward following the launch of the new logo and the Federation's theme and mission this week. Current members of the national men's basketball team are excited about the direction basketball in PNG is heading and believe it will be a big boost for basketballers right around the country.
Basketball PNG has big plans for the sport, not only in the country but in the region. With Executive Officer Joel Carlo at helm, the future of basketball looks bright. At the launch of the new look logo and unveiling of the Federation's mission and theme, current members of the national men's basketball team expressed their excitement with the plans in place for PNG basketball.
As a player, it's kind of a boost for us and the upcoming ones, because it's going to be a lifetime for the basketball PNG.
One of the senior members of the team, Dia Muri, said it is an exciting era to be stepping into for basketballers throughout the country, and he is keen on what is in store.
I'm really excited, but I'm jealous that I don't know, because my career is coming to an end almost like, for this thing to happen, but I think it's great for basketball in PNG, It's the first of its kind, representing PNG for the last 13 years. Never experienced it.
PNG Basketball's partnership with FIBA Oceania aims to grow interest in the sport of basketball not only in Papua New Guinea but in the region as a whole. Dion Combang, National MTV Sports.
To rugby league and to the SP Hunters, coach Michael Marum says despite injury concerns for Wartovo Puara and Noel Zemming, the team is shaping up to take on the Northridge Devil this weekend at the National Football Stadium.
Marum said with the injury of a few key players in the team, the starting lineup is sure to change.
Wartovo is still sore, he's a bit sick too, so he wants to play, but I'll see. Make a last minute calling in, but Zemming, I got Edex Vera, he's got a calf, and also Esau has got a knee. It's an old knee, so yeah, no. And yeah, we got another few more days before the games.
Blender Bavu will be released with a few other players to play with their local Intercity Cup teams. Bavu has not been named in the team for the past few weeks because of his performance.
I just need to lift this game. Okay, he hasn't played well for the last 2 games. Okay, he knows that. So it's all about competing for spots here. So the players that are playing this weekend probably worked hard to win their spots in the team. So it's every weekend you have to fight for your spot in the side.
Marum has admitted to the team's choppy start to the season, saying they have yet to play their best football.
First one against Tweedheads we only won it in the last a minute there, and then again same thing Black Hawk. So we still still finding our form. Yeah, I think the players main issue is just injury suspension. So and we keep changing players around. So
Elijah Lavet, National EMTV Sports.
Still on Rugby League, with 2 weeks out from the Pacific Test between the PNG KUMULS and the Fiji Bati, KUMULS players will be selected from the NRL, Super League, the New South Wales Cup and the Interest Super Cup competition. Players from the Intercity Cup competition may not be selected in the team because of the late start to the Intercity Cup.
The Diesel Cup, because of the late start of the season, okay, those players probably will miss this test match, but okay, the selectors are the ones that probably will finalize that. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, they're eligible for selection, but okay, there's only one player playing in Super League in England. That's Polly Aiden. He's been contacting me, but yeah, for one weekend to travel all the way from England, come here to play, I think that's just too much load on him. So and he'll probably be looking to join the team if there's another test match at the end of the season.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. SP Brewery Managing Director Stan Joyce has appealed to supporters to take pride and ownership in their Intercity Cup teams. With the looming Intercity Cup, Joyce also made a bold statement to cease spectator violence that has tarnished the reputation of the game for many years. He made this statement during the presentation of 400,000 kina sponsorship from SP Brewery to help run this year's Intercity Cup competition.
Intercity Cup dates back to the late 90s. Back then it was known as SP Intercity Cup, and one thing that has plagued the game ever since was spectator violence. One person who has been around the competition since its inception was none other than one of Intercity Cup's major sponsor, SP Brewery Managing Director Stan Joyce, who was vocal about spectator violence, saying it disrupts the game morale and cannot be tolerated.
About spectator behaviour, it's always a challenge, and I accept that, but it's something that I think that the general public needs to understand, is that there is no going back to the old days. There's no going back to intimidation. There's no going back to unacceptable social behaviour.
He further stated that there is no room for violence in this competition, and people with such unruly behaviour must be dealt with.
That will not be tolerated in the competition, and if there's anything I can ever do to make sure that people who perpetrate that type of behaviour are kicked out of rugby league, then I think that that's a great thing that we should do. It's our game, it's a game we all enjoy, it's a game we come to unite the community, it's not a game to disunite the community.
Meanwhile, kickstarting the Intercity Cup Round 1, this Sunday will see Isapea taking on Vipers in Port Moresby. Eagles will play Wagitumbe at Rambiamul Oval in Mount Hagen. Lahanis will take on Mendi Muruks at the National Sports Institute in Goroka. Lions will battle with Wigman in Mendi. And Gurias will play Miox at Callabon Oval in East New Britain, while Tigers are on bye. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. We'll have further weather details when we return. Don't go anywhere.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. thundery showers expected in Port Moresby, Kerma, Altau and Popendetta, and rain and thunderstorms in Daru. To the Momase region, thundery showers in Lei, Wau, Medang, thunderstorms in Wewak and mostly fine in Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, showers and thunderstorms in Longau and Kavieng, thunderstorms in Kokopo and Rabaul, thunderstorms in Kimbe and thunderstorms in Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, you can all expect showers and thunderstorms over the next 24 hours. A look at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerma, Yule Island, Hood Point to Samarai Islands, and waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, sea 0.7 to 2 meters. Waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, Finchafen, with waters of Finchafen through Vitia Strait, Long Island, including Siasi, Dampier Strait, with waters of Long Island to Medang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, New Island, and waters of east and west New Britain and Bougainville, sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast. Coral Sea, seas moderate to rather rough with southeasterly winds at 15 to 25 knots with near strong gusts. Solomon Sea, seas slight to moderate with clockwise winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas slight with northeast to northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northeast to northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Before we go, a quick look at our news making headlines. O'Neill vows to protect Prime Minister's office amidst recent arrests. Government to build power station at a cost of 15 billion kina. And a small-scale industry thriving in the highlands. And that's how it is this Friday, the 15th of April 2016. From all of us here at EMTV News, have a pleasant weekend. Bye for now.